Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to the one of the first videos in the Marvel United X-Men campaign. So I've done the videos on all the first Marvel United stuff that came out, which had Avengers, Spider-Man, all the Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor, all the cinematic universe type characters, the Defenders, all those cool guys. So this set is all based on X-Men. So I've already done the unboxing for the core set, which I have in my hands right here. And I'm going to be doing a series of videos on all of the other new expansions. So of course we have First Class, X-Force, Phoenix Spy, Days of Future Past, Deadpool, Special Fantastic Four cameo, Age of Apocalypse way up here at the top, Blue Team, Gold Team, Stretch Goals, we got special dashboards we'll go through, plastic tokens, some extra locations. So there's a lot of content. Each one's going to be its own separate video, but if you want to know a little bit more about gameplay, I probably either done it in the original Marvel video, or I'll end up maybe making a new one with the X-Men characters. So there's a little bit of that. So I'm just going to hop in on what is in everything. I just wanted to do a quick setup on the beginning of these videos. So if you enjoy whichever video this is, check out the rest of them to see all of the other campaign for the X-Men sets that are coming out. So without further ado, we'll jump into this video. Alright, it's time for something a little bit different. So this is part of the Marvel United X-Men campaign, but they released a Fantastic Four box set. I'm not 100% sure why they decided to add it in here. Maybe they decided they didn't want to do a third version, or maybe they decided, they could have had Fantastic Four start off a third season, but maybe there wasn't enough characters that would link to it. Because the first one was all Marvel characters. It started with the Avengers, but you had, Spider-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy, and all this stuff the cinematic movies were around. And then this one had X-Men, and there's so many different X-Men teams and characters. If you've watched all the videos, clearly you can see that. But maybe they couldn't think of enough characters to go with Fantastic Four, so they just tossed it in here. Or maybe they just figured, hey, we want to get Fantastic Four out while we can, get some hype up for potentially upcoming movie. Because they did that with the original series too. They added characters like Shang-Chi and Moon Knight, which if you're a Marvel fan, you're like, oh, those guys are cool. But like, if you're looking at the cinematic reasons universe, those characters their shows maybe have been announced, but no one really knew who they were. This game came out well before the Kickstarter was done, like 2 years before, or a year or more before that was even a thing. So, maybe this is trying to hype Fantastic Four back up. Now that Disney owns them again, Marvel owns their rights to do the movies and stuff. Who knows? Either way, I'm excited. I love Fantastic Four. Plus, you can use all the other members of the non-Fantastic Four characters that have joined the team, like She-Hulk, or you can make the Black Panther and Storm are on there, a bunch of other stuff. So this comes with a bunch of really cool stuff. So we get a bunch of cool characters, and some extra stuff. There's this sheet. I don't like going over that unless I have to. So first off, let's look at locations, because we love our locations, right? And we need some more, because the X-Men sets didn't have a ton. The first Marvel one had a bunch. The newer X-Men one didn't have nearly as many. They had a lot more boss fights and big things like that. So here we have the Baxter Building. Of course, we're going to have that. End of turn, draw one card. If your hero has ever been a member of the Fantastic Four, you may gain one move, heroic, or fight token instead. So they list in the book here who they say have been part of the Fantastic Four. So Ant-Man, Black Panther, Human Torch, Iceman, Invisible Woman, Mr. Fantastic, Nova, She-Hulk, Spider-Man, Storm, and The Thing. So those have all been ones that they've had that were technically have been part of like the quote-unquote official Fantastic Four team. I would also argue that you could have the substitute Fantastic Four team of, which would have been Ghost Rider, Hulk, Wolverine, and Spider-Man. Hulk and Wolverine are both in the set. Spider-Man's already on this list. The Ghost Rider that's in this set, though, is not the one that was part of that team. So you'd have to argue that one pretty strong. But something else, you did have the pseudo team that came later, which was Red Hulk, Agent Venom, the Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, and X-23. Just substitutes for the 4 of the original substitute characters. And those guys are all in the set. So you could Red Hulk might not be. I don't think he was. But you can argue that too. Yeah, definitely that's a neat little mechanic. Kind of like the whole thing where they said male, females, or mutants. Like, you can argue some of those. But that's a cool little gimmick to have there. So then we have Latveria, which has an end of a turn black effect with the stop marker. So it says, if you end your turn here, you must take 1 damage for each Thug or Doombot in this location. So Doombots, we're going to get a bunch of little Doombot tokens, which are double-sided. So various things will require Doombots. If you run out of Doombots, you just start using Thugs again. So they're kind of interchangeable. Just some effects, I think, of Doom's cards are going to specify Doombots. So yeah, that's definitely fun, because they'll put 3 Doombots there instead. We have 4 Yancey Street. So this is where Ben Grimm lives, of course. End of turn, you may place 1 hero token from the pool on this location. The token acts as a permanent extra slot for a hero or thug. So that's kind of fun. It's a neat mechanic that I haven't seen before. And then finally we have Mount Wundagore, which is some science stuff. Well, high evolutionary. Kind of also fits in with Scarlet Witch and Magneto and stuff. But each hero in this location must discard all cards from their hand to draw the same amount of cards. This does not KO. So you discard them all and then they draw them. So these are some you might want to avoid doing. But yeah, there's some interesting new locations, which are always fun. We also got some KO counters. So we're going to get some other neat stuff in here. I didn't separate everything out. One thing we're going to look at right away is this challenge. We like our challenge cards, don't we? We're going to get the takeover challenge. So choose either a regular takeover or the harder brutal takeover. Place the card face up on the table with that side face up. Then, sorry, I'm sorting cards over here on the side. We have, if a civilian or thug token can't be added to a location, resolving an overflow, the excessive token, place the excessive token on the overtake card. The card is full, the heroes lose immediately. So it's a way to make the game even harder. Not that we always need to do that, but it's definitely fun. So here we got one side with 9 of them, or the harder side with 6. So yeah, it just adds a little pressure to the game. So we got another more challenge cards. Any challenge cards I get, I enjoy, because it adds. You can play the same game with the same villain, the same heroes. Everything else is the same locations, and you can add. There's like 10 or more different challenges by now. I'm not sure, and they'll change up what you're doing. So that's really fun. So you can keep having a different game. Alright, so we're going to look at some of we're going to just start with the Fantastic Four. It's the best place to start. So the Fantastic Four have this special team card. So there's going to be various. So if you're playing any member of these four Fantastic Four characters, you have to have this card out on the table. If you are playing the team mode, which came in X-Men Gold and X-Men Blue, you can use this side. So one's blue, one's gold. Because they'll tell you to put counters or tokens on these cards, and then you get to pick them up. So the Fantastic Four work as a team. So you put cards on there, save them for later, or you can trade them between each other. So it's a neat mechanic that you're going to have. So let's take a look at our characters. We're going to start off with good old Reed Richards, Stretcho, Mr. Fantastic, standing on this whatever device or whatever this object is. I think a light bulb or something. It's not a light bulb, but there's like a grate down there. But got all stretchy arms and legs and stuff. I like that pose because lots of times you get Mr. Fantastic stuff and it's just him standing there with like one arm stretched out. Now like this, it's showing his legs are stretched, his arm is stretched, his body's stretched. It's really giving the sense that he's a stretchy character instead of just like, oh, I can extend my arm. Alright, so he's going to get a starting hand card. So kind of like the mutants, these guys get starting cards too. So it's plasticity. As long as this card is based up in the storyline. During your hero's turn, you can use one of your heroic or fight actions in an adjacent location. So the earlier you play this, the better. Then let's look at the rest of his cards. And then their team symbol is just going to be like a color up there. So his is a 4 with a blue. Each one has a different 4. So it just kind of solidifies that team thing. So movement and heroic. Movement and attack. Heroic attack. Some double heroics. Some more heroics. Some more heroics. There's going to be a lot of heroic stuff. Of course, we got our wilds. And then we got some fun cards. So we've already seen plasticity, so we'll put that one down. We've got teamwork. Perform actions of the same type as all action tokens on the Fantastic Four card. Then add one movement token from the pool to the Fantastic Four card. So yeah, they don't have a lot of powerful abilities, but they work together. So if you have, a movement and an attack on there, he gets you. This card lets you play as a movement and attack, and you add another movement on there. So the first time you might play this, it might only be worth one. You might not do anything. It kind of sucks. But then as you go on farther and farther, and every plays, especially if you're playing all 4 characters, these cards are going to get really powerful. Then he also has one that's teamwork with wild cards. So that's even better. Then his final card is Super Genius. This turn you can treat all symbols as wilds. So he can do a lot of awesome stuff in one turn. So yeah, it's Mr. Fantastic. Those are some fun abilities. Alright. So who's up next? Alright, so up next we have Sue Storm. You can see her there. She's she's not actually invisible. That was a terrible joke. No, here's Sue Storm. The Invisible Woman, but she does have an invisible leg. I'm just gonna focus. The visible platform is kind of cool too. She's just standing on this invisible platform. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of like a line going down from her leg, just to stabilize her, but it's still neat. I'm not gonna complain. I mean, it would have been cool if they made the entire thing invisible or half of her invisible. That would have been neat as well. But I'm not even mad at just part of it, and like the invisible kind of like stepping stone that she can make. So she also gets, of course, a starting card for her ability to go invisibility. As long as this card's based up on the storyline, when the top card of the Master Plan deck is revealed, you may choose to not take any damage until the beginning of your next turn. If you do so, you must play your next card face down. So you can avoid a hit, but also avoid your action for the turn. But that might be worth it. Is it worth losing one card to the discard pile, and taking damage, potentially KOing yourself, or is it better to just skip a turn? Kind of an interesting idea. So it's, it'll be fun to see how that works out. So, alright, here's her card. She's got some movement on that disc. Movement heroic. Movement attack. Double heroics. Heroic attack. Regular attack. Of course, we're going to get our wilds. And then we've already seen plus or invincibility, so we'll put that there. She's also got these teamwork cards. So it's the same exact thing. She gets that plus movement, and then she has one for heroic. And then her special card is Psionic Force Field. It's getting 2 wild tokens. So they're going to gain lots of wild tokens, get to share stuff. But there's not a lot of... their special abilities are all relying on them putting cards on that teamwork card. So... again, like the first time one plays it, it's not going to do anything. The second guy that plays it, it's going to be a little bit beneficial. Oh, now it's 1 symbol. And then the second one that plays it, it's 2 symbols. Third card, 3 symbols. But as you keep going through the game and you keep playing them, it's going to get more and more powerful. Here is this awesome Human Torch. He is solid on fire. But you can see his body in there, like his legs, his face, the 4 on his chest. Yeah, definitely cool. Like, they, again, could have made, like, just part of him, or just part of him on fire, like, just his legs or something, like, or just, but he's always on fire. He flames on, right? So here's his starting card. So it makes more sense to have that. But it's also because he doesn't become a flame being. He becomes a guy covered in flames. So there is a difference there. Unlike, let's say, Iceman in, like, more current iterations. He literally becomes a being of ice. Like, you shatter him, he becomes shattered. He can form back together. If you stab Iceman through the chest with something, yeah, he might feel pain or whatever, but, like, it's gonna go through him because he's ice. But you stab Human Torch, you're stabbing the body that's on fire. So we got Pyrogenesis. As long as this card is based up on the storyline, you can treat heroics as fights. He's a hothead. You just heroics do extra damage. So he's got, of course, we're going to need some movement from him. Movement heroic, movement attack, movement attack, movement attack. Just a bunch of attacks. Heroic. There's not a lot of heroics on him, but he'll gain it from the other characters. So he's also going to gain these teamwork. He has one for movement and one for heroic. His Pyrogenesis. And his final one is Nova Flame. Discard 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. Deal 2 damage to everything else in your location. Discard all civilians. So you just go Nova and do a lot of damage. He's going to be moving around, attacking, which is what Human Torch does. Like I said, he's a hothead. And then he can use all his heroic tokens he gets from other characters to change them into more attacks. Alright, then our last core member of the Fantastic Four is Benjamin K. Grimm. The ever-loving blue-eyed thing. I like just how bulky he is. I love that these guys are also in action poses and not just like standing there. So many miniature games have characters that are just standing there. So he has a starting card as well. It is Rock Like Sting. As long as this card is based up on the storyline, you may ignore 1 damage during each villain turn. So he's going to get a movement, get some leaping, move a heroics, move attack. Of course he's going to get some attacks, double attacks, 1 heroic. His wilds. There's his Rock Like Sting. He's got his heroic or teamwork cards, but his add fists. And what would it be the thing without its clobbering time? 2 fists against a single target in your location, then 2 against a different target, and you can move. That's incredibly powerful. Takes out 4 thugs, could potentially weaken, if not take out a bunch of henchmen. Yeah, that's awesome. So that's Thing for you. Just a powerhouse. Then yeah, imagine using teamwork to add more counters and do other stuff where he can move a little bit more and do all that fun stuff. So we do have another hero. So what would Fantastic Four be without their friend, the Silver Surfer? So he's all shiny. It's really cool. Neat paint jobs, and there's some great paint jobs or designs for these sets. Well, we'll set him up here like we normally do. Plus his base is kind of wavy. So yeah, the Silver Surfer is also going to have a starting card. He's going to have his Cosmic Awareness. As long as this card is based up in your storyline during your turn, one of your heroics or attacks can be performed at any location. So he can hit wherever he kind of sense where the threats are. So he's got movement. He's going to need movement. He's on a surfboard. Move heroic. Move attack. Just heroic. Some wilds. And then we've already seen his Cosmic Awareness. So his other abilities are, he gets 2 copies of Teleport. You may move to any location, and you have a wild. That's pretty sweet. He also has Dimensional Travel. If you are not in the villain's starting location, replace your location with any other not in play. Move everything from your location to the new one. So you can adjust your villain's starting one, because lots of times that, sometimes it might affect what they have on there. Or you don't want to do it the first turn. But that's actually kind of cool that you can replace one of your locations. So if like you got one that's, oh, this is actually, the effect is hurting me more than I thought it would. Or maybe it's not hurting me. Yeah, you can go ahead and do that. That's pretty fun. And then his final one is Near Immortality. As long as this card is face up in the storyline, draw 2 cards during the draw step of your turns. So you gain some extra health every turn. So yeah, Shovelmate. Move him around, shove him in to take battle, and let him recover with those cards. Awesome. That was him. Alright, so we got a couple more things to go through. So let's look at our villains. We already know we had Dr. Doom, because we saw the Doombots. So special setup. Latveria must be the villain's starting location. This is why they can't let you change that. Probably because of specific cards like this. Like Apocalypse has one like that too. Don't place a threat card in Latveria. Replace all the starting thugs with in it with Doombots. Doombots are treated as thugs for all game effects. In its starting tokens, they get 2 move, 2 heroics, and 2 attacks. So what does Dr. Doom look like? Well, here's good old Dr. Doom, and yes, he's purple. So he is a playable hero as well, so we will look at that next. Standing on, like, the top of a castle, he's got his fist up, he's like, I'm Dr. Doom. So he'll kind of peek over the top of the card there. So Dr. Doom has 579 health. Doom track, when the track reaches 20, heroes lose. So that's fairly basic for the type of plot. So as long as there are any Doombots in Doom's location, he can't be damaged. Once per turn, a hero can forfeit 1 action to discard one of their crisis tokens. Heroes cannot affect the master plan deck in any way. So yeah, he's controlling because he's Doom. Bam, deal 1 damage to each hero in Doom's location, plus 1 hero damage to each hero in location with any Doombots. Then increase the Doom track by 2. And then overflow. If any thugs, civilians, or Doombots cannot be added to a location, increase Doom track by 1 for each token you cannot add. Just very similar, like the overflow and some of that stuff is very similar to the Red Skull, which is like the base villain, like the first one they kind of recommend people play. But he has a little bit of twist on it where you can't mess with his stuff. Definitely interesting. So let's look at his deck and see what we got. So there's our Dr. Doom card. Good old Victor Von Doom. Alright, and I love this. It actually shows the Doombots on there. So we're going to get through this. He has, this is my country, my home. He gets to move right to Latveria. He's controlling, so you get special cards. You'll rule the day you ever heard of the name Victor Von Doom. One hero takes one crisis token. You got a second one that does that. You got some more abilities here. My robots are most sophisticated. Turn all civilians into Doombots. Few men are as subtle as Dr. Doom. Each hero chooses to either discard all their action tokens if they have any, or take one crisis token. You must surrender, Richards. Each hero chooses to either discard one card from their hand to the bottom of their deck, or take one crisis token. You all fell into my trap. Increase the Doom track number of crisis tokens. Increase the Doom track by the number of crisis tokens the heroes have, then one hero takes one crisis token. You all fell into my trap. He does it a second time. We got a third one with just some different symbols on the bottom, and a fourth one that does that. Then his threats. 2 copies of Self-Destruct Protocol. When a Doombot is defeated at this or in adjacent locations, each hero in the location takes 1 damage. Are we missing a threat card? No, it's right. There's only 5 because you don't put 1 on Latveria. I was like, why am I short 1? Because it's right, you don't put 1 on Latveria. That way, every time they land out, they have to deal with that effect. So he's got 2 copies of additional armor. Each Doombot in this adjacent location requires 2 damage to be defeated. And auto assembly. When adding Doombot in this and adjacent locations, add 1 extra there. So you gotta fill this stuff up very quick with Doombots. I don't feel like there's enough Doombot tokens. Like there should have been twice as many. But that's just what I think. Alright, so there's Dr. Doom. So now we've seen that, let's look at his hero version as long as we're looking at that. He also gets a starting card. Sometimes Dr. Doom knows he needs to help out, and that's what he's going to do now. Pain is for lesser men. As long as this card is based up in your storyline, for each damage you take during the villain turn, you may gain 1 move, heroic, or fight token. So you can take some damage. So Dr. Doom's going to have some attack, move heroic, double attack, these wilds, another wild, another double wild. He's got 4 wild cards. That's crazy. And then we've seen that one. He has 3 more cards that are all the same, which all have wilds on them as well. It says, mine is the power. This turn you can use the symbols at the bottom of the 3 previous hero cards in the storyline instead of only the previous one. Then turn them all face down. That is awesome. I love cards like this, or some of these characters are a little bit overpowered, or have like almost game-breaking effects. You might be like, well, that's not fair. Like, no, it's great to get none of these characters. They didn't try and balance every character. There's like 70 characters in this Kickstarter set through all the expansion, all the Kickstarter stretch goals, plus like a 70 or 60 something or whatever in the Marvel first one. So you're talking, close to 200 some characters by the end, with villains and everything. And I'm glad everybody's not balanced. That makes the game more fun. Have some guys that are overpowered. Have some guys that are super, I don't want to say weak, but have super gimmicky things, just to make things more difficult. Alright, so our final villain is we're going to get Super Skrull, Clerk, I believe is his name. So we got 2 heroics and 2 movements if we fight against him. If you want to play against him or play as him. So he's got 2, 3, and 4 health. Special rules. Super Skrull can't be damaged as long as there are any crisis tokens here. Heroes in this location can spend heroic to remove a crisis token from here. When a hero is KO'd, Super Skrull does not activate his BAM. Instead, draw a master plan, add it face down to the storyline, Then the KO'd hero gets a KO token if they have none. So we got that's what KO tokens are for. If one or more overflow, one or more tokens can't be added, draw a master plan, add face down to the story. And his BAM. Deal 1 damage to each hero in the Super Skrull's location. Then resolve the symbols at the bottom of the last hero card in the storyline order. Fist, deal 1 damage to the hero in the Super Skrull's location. Heroic, deal 1 damage to adjacent hero. Move, moves clockwise to the next location. And Wild, add 1 crisis token to this dashboard. Special effect, Super Skrull gains 1 health, may go above starting value. His villainous plot. The hero loses if they have 1 KO token each. And the game only comes with 4 of them, so there we go. Yeah, I like his effect. It's very similar to how the Sentinels work, but it's also, because he copies the different powers of the Fantastic Four. So he gets some strength, gets some movement, gets some heroic, so he gets some interesting abilities based on the last step he played. Plus, it also makes you, because he's kind of copying you, it makes you have to watch what he's doing. So let's take a look at his awesome sculpt. This one is fantastic, if I must say. So we got the flaming legs from the Human Torch. We got an invisible arm from Invisible Woman, which is also kind of stretchy. Plus, his other fist here is big and rocky like the Things. Then he keeps his regular Skrull appearance. So that's awesome because it incorporates all 4 of them. It does it very well. It does it very visual. That is very cool. So we got that. Alright, what can Super Skrull do as a villain? He does not get a starting card like everybody else did. That's alright. He has some other really cool abilities, so let's see what he can do. So we're going to get just the regular movement and placing characters. So some 1s, some 2s, some good old 4s, some 5s, and then he has Skrull Challenge. So he's got 2 copies of this. Say, move clockwise to the next location with a hero with no KO token. So he's going to move to who he needs to KO next. Matching powers. If the next master plan card has a BAM, use the last 2 hero effects in the storyline for its effect. So that's actually kind of fun. So if he gets one of them, he can add some extra. Then he's got another one that does that, but this one adds civilians. And that's his special card. So he moves to who he needs to KO, and he can use extra powers. Then his threats. He needs some threats. We have Skrull Warriors. Each thug in this adjacent location requires 2 damage to be defeated. Skrull Deception. Each civilian requires 2 heroics to be rescued. Skrull Spy. Which has a BAM on it. Deal 1 damage to 1 hero in each location or 1 or more civilian. Another BAM. Deal 1 damage to each hero in the location or 1 or more thug. And then 2 copies of Skull Decoys. If there's at least 1 civilian or thug in this location, add 1 crisis token to the Super Skrull's dashboard. Yeah, so it's fun. Kind of like I was saying, Dr. Doom, he seemed kind of like, I'm not going to say generic, but he seemed simpler in his overall plan, kind of like Red Skull was. Super Skrull here also seems like very straightforward with like his BAM. I mean, his special effect things and rules are a little bit different for like his deck, and that seems very, like extra for thugs, extra for civilians. Seems kind of like base deck stuff. So it kind of seems like, again, I was saying at the beginning, I wonder if this was originally maybe going to start off like a Series 3, but maybe they decided, who knows, it could be a licensing issue, they didn't have the licensing to keep doing it, or they already had this designed and they wanted to get this out since the Kickstarter made so much money. Who knows the exact reason. But either way, we got some awesome Fantastic Four characters. Now, another thing to point out, if this does, I don't know if this is a Kickstarter exclusive set or not, but if it does hit retail, Super Skrull is not pictured on the front of the box because he was one of the Kickstarter exclusive characters. So if this does hit retail, he won't be part of the set, unfortunately. Kind of a bummer. But still, you get the other characters, which is nice because you actually technically get 6 playable characters, like you would sort of like in a base game. You get Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, and Silver Surfer. The only thing people were really hoping for once this was announced, especially with Silver Surfer, is they're hoping for a Galactus. Even if he's only the size of the Sentinels and not something crazy, they're really hoping they would have released that. But we didn't get it. Alright, so that's what we got for the Fantastic Four. Check out the rest of the video. See you guys later. Bye.